Welcome to Learn English with Podcast. Today, our amazing hosts, Luca and Maria, are here to take you through another exciting episode. Luca, Maria, over to you.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into emotional intelligence, EI for short.
Right.
Basically, it's your ability to, recognize and understand emotions, yours and other people's, and then manage them effectively.
Exactly. It's about handling emotions intelligently.
And it's really different from IQ, isn't it? Like how smart you are academically.
Yeah.
This is something else.
Totally different. This EI stuff is crucial for so many things, your relationships, your mental health.
Leadership, teamwork, handling disagreements, all of that.
Definitely.
We know you want to get the insights quickly, but also thoroughly. So we're going to try and unpack the core of EI, how it works in the real world without making it too complicated.
Sounds good. We'll look at some key ideas.
Hey, right at the start, if you find these deep dives useful and you appreciate the work that goes into them, please do take a second to like, share, and subscribe. It genuinely helps us keep making these for you.
It really does. So yeah, let's nail down that definition again. EI is this skill set for understanding and managing emotions.
And it's not just book smarts.
Not at all. You can be brilliant technically, but if you struggle with the emotional side, it's harder to succeed. It impacts pretty much everything.
Okay, let's dig in then. What are some clear signs that someone has strong emotional intelligence?
Well, there are a few key things we often see. The first one, maybe the foundation, is self-awareness.
Okay, what does that actually mean?
It's the ability to recognize your own emotions as they're happening and understanding how they affect your thoughts and behavior.
So knowing why you feel a certain way.
Exactly. And knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, your values too. It's about being willing to look inwards, People strong in this tend to reflect. And they're usually more open to feedback, even constructive criticism, without getting defensive right away.
Right. Like if someone interrupts you, instead of just getting mad, you realize, okay, I feel unheard, and then decide how to respond.
Precisely. That's self-awareness in action.
Makes a lot of sense. Really seeing yourself clearly. Okay, what's next after awareness?
Building right on top of that is self-regulation.
Managing emotions.
Yeah, managing them effectively.
Yeah.
Especially when you're stressed or under pressure. It's about responding thoughtfully instead of just reacting on impulse.
So keeping your cool.
Keeping your cool, but also maintaining your integrity. Trustworthiness is a big part of this. People see you handle tough situations calmly, focusing on solutions, not blame.
Right. Like if a project goes sideways right before the deadline.
Exactly. Panic doesn't help. Regulation means staying calm, assessing, finding a way forward.
So it's not about pretending you don't have emotions.
No, not at all. It's about being in control of how you express and act on them.
Got it. Okay, what else?
Then there's motivation. But through an EI lens, this is more about internal drive.
Not just money or promotions.
Right. It's driven by things like purpose, curiosity, a desire to achieve for its own sake. Optimism plays a big role too, bouncing back from setbacks.
Resilience.
Yeah, you see really talented people sometimes just give up when things get hard, don't you? Emotionally intelligent people tend to be more proactive. They take initiative, keep their eyes on the long-term goals.
That inner drive. Okay, I see how that connects. What's another key sign?
Next up is empathy. This one's huge.
Understanding others' feelings.
Yes, and really sharing in them, trying to see things from their perspective. It's not just knowing someone is sad, it's trying to feel with them, you could say.
So it's more than just sympathy.
Much more. It allows you to offer genuine support. Think about seeing a colleague who seems down or withdrawn. Empathy means noticing, wondering what might be going on, maybe offering support, not just ignoring it.
And you mentioned cross-cultural stuff.
Oh, absolutely crucial there. Understanding that people express emotions differently across cultures helps avoid so many misunderstandings. Empathy helps bridge that gap.
Right. Okay, empathy is vital for connection. What follows that?
Then we have social skills. This is really about how you handle relationships.
Building connections, communication.
Yeah, all of that. Building and maintaining healthy relationships, communicating clearly, persuasively, but also, really importantly, active listening.
Truly hearing people out.
Yes. Paying attention not just to the words, but the emotions behind them. Social skills also cover resolving conflict constructively, working well in teams, networking effectively. It's the whole toolkit for interacting with others.
Your whole interface with the world, kind of.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. And number 6 is adaptability.
Being flexible.
Exactly. Flexible, open to change, comfortable with uncertainty, adjusting your approach when things shift. People high in EI often embrace lifelong learning too.
They don't resist change as much.
They tend not to. They see it as part of life, maybe even an opportunity. Think about new technology at work. Adaptability means being open to learning it, not just complaining about it.
Yeah, that flexibility seems more important than ever now.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last one,
The seventh key sign here is conflict management.
dealing with disagreements.
Yes, but constructively. It's not just about ending the fight, it's about navigating it calmly, looking for those win-win solutions where possible.
Finding common ground.
Right. And interestingly, people good at this are often proactive. They use their awareness and communication skills to prevent conflicts from escalating in the first place.
Managing their own emotions during it too, I bet.
Absolutely key.
Wow, okay. These 7, self-awareness, regulation, motivation, empathy, social skills, adaptability, conflict management, they all seem really interconnected.
They absolutely are. They build on each other.
You mentioned earlier something about having a richer emotional vocabulary. Why does that matter?
Yeah. It's really interesting. Someone with high EI often won't just say, I feel bad.
They're more specific.
Exactly. They might say, I feel overwhelmed, or I'm feeling frustrated, or maybe disappointed. That precision helps them understand themselves better.
And communicate better.
Definitely. If you can tell someone exactly how you're feeling, it's much easier for them to understand and respond helpfully, isn't it?
That makes perfect sense, like having a better map of your own feelings. And this connects to understanding others too, right? Listening.
Totally. Listening in an EI context is way more than just hearing words. It's active. It's trying to grasp the emotions behind the words.
How do they do that?
Well, they really pay attention, show genuine interest, notice body language, tone of voice changes those subtle clues. And then they respond with empathy. They might say something that validates the feeling, like, that sounds really frustrating, rather than just jumping to advice.
I see. It's deeper listening.
Yeah.
And you touched on culture earlier. How does that fit in?
Right. EI isn't culturally blind. People with high EI generally understand that emotional expression varies a lot.
What's normal in one place might not be somewhere else.
Exactly. So they're sensitive to that. They try to adjust their communication style to be respectful and inclusive when dealing with people from different backgrounds. It makes them more effective globally.
So EI needs that cultural awareness layer too. Okay, let's talk about EI in action. How does it affect, say, decision making?
This is where it gets practical. Emotionally intelligent people are often better at separating logic from purely emotional reactions when making choices.
They don't just go with their gut blindly.
Well, they might consider their gut feeling, but they don't let it hijack the whole process. They tend to pause, reflect, weigh the facts and the feelings. It leads to more balanced decisions, usually.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like considering a new job offer. Someone with high EI wouldn't just look at the salary bump. They'd also think, how does this company culture feel? Does this role align with my values? Will I actually be happy doing this? They factor in the emotional side along with the practical stuff.
Right. Balancing head and heart, kind of. What about leadership? Big topic there.
Oh, huge. Effective leaders almost always score high on EI. It's not just about being the smartest person in the room.
It's about connecting with people.
Absolutely. Building trust is fundamental. They handle criticism more gracefully. They support their teams. They know how to motivate without, ruling by fear.
Influencing rather than ordering.
Exactly. They're usually great communicators too, clear vision, keeping morale up, especially during tough times or crises. Think of a leader acknowledging the team's stress during change, but also clearly explaining the path forward. That's EI leadership.
It really sounds essential for good leadership. What about preventing problems? Can EI help stop conflict before it even starts?
Yes, definitely. That proactive piece we mentioned, people with good EI are often quite sensitive to the emotional climate.
They pick up on tension early.
They do. They notice the subtle shifts, body language, tone, and they can often intervene subtly, maybe change the tone of the conversation, ask a clarifying question, just to diffuse a potential misunderstanding before it blows up, like an emotional early warning system.
That's a really valuable skill. And when criticism does come, because it always does, how does EI help them?
That's another area where it makes a difference. Instead of reacting defensively like, how dare you? The tendency is to view criticism more like feedback.
An opportunity to learn.
Sort of, yeah. Or at least to understand the other person's perspective. They're more likely to ask questions like, okay, can you tell me more about that? Trying to understand the concern fully.
Rather than just shutting down or arguing.
Right. They might even thank the person for the feedback, recognizing it could help them improve. It takes the sting out of it a bit.
That's a much healthier way to handle it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk trust. You mentioned it with leadership, but it's key everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
How does EI build trust?
Fundamentally, EI fosters transparency. People feel they know where you stand emotionally. Consistency is also huge. If your reactions are predictable and fair, people feel safer.
Mm-hmm.
And empathy, again, when people feel genuinely understood and their feelings are acknowledged, that creates psychological safety. It makes people feel secure.
And that leads to better teamwork, better relationships.
Exactly. Trust is the bedrock.
It seems like managing all this, understanding others, managing yourself must take energy. Does self-care fit in?
Absolutely. That's a crucial, often overlooked piece. Emotionally intelligent people usually recognize their own limits.
They know when they're running on empty.
Yes, and they understand that they can't be effective, they can't be empathetic, or regulate themselves well if they're burned out. So they prioritize self-care.
Like what? Getting enough rest.
Rest, definitely. But also setting boundaries, saying no sometimes, protecting their emotional energy, paying attention to their overall emotional health. It's not selfish, it's necessary maintenance for long-term effectiveness.
Right, you need to recharge your own battery to help others. Okay, so for someone listening now thinking, right, I want to improve my EI, what can they actually do?
Good question. There are lots of practical things. Self-reflection is key, just taking time to think about your feelings, your reactions, what triggers you.
Paying more attention internally.
Exactly. And seeking feedback from people you trust can be incredibly eye-opening. Ask them how you come across.
That takes courage.
It does. Journaling can help too, writing down feelings and situations. Mindfulness practices are great for self-regulation, just learning to pause and observe your thoughts and feelings.
What else? Setting goals.
Yes, set specific goals, like I want to listen more actively in meetings. Practice empathy. Deliberately try to see situations from other people's shoes. Group activities, even things like team sports or volunteering, help with social skills.
Trying new things.
Stepping outside your comfort zone boosts adaptability. Even role-playing difficult conversations can help you practice those skills in a safe space.
Okay, so lots of actionable things people can try. Just to wrap it up then, what's the big picture, the real-world impact of all this?
Well, as we've kind of touched on, the impact is pretty huge and widespread. In work, you see better teamwork, more inspiring leadership, higher productivity generally.
And in personal life?
Deeper, stronger, more satisfying relationships, better communication, overall fewer misunderstandings, more trust being built. It just contributes to a more, successful and fulfilling life across the board.
This has been really insightful. It's clear EI is so much more complex and vital than just, being pleasant. It's a core skill set.
Absolutely. It touches everything.
So as we finish this deep dive, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about, is there one area in your life, maybe work, maybe a relationship, maybe just how you handle stress, where improving your emotional intelligence could make a real positive difference? And if so, what's maybe one small first step you could take this week? Thanks for joining us.
It all started on a rainy Monday morning, the kind of day that makes everyone a little more irritable than usual. Jason, a 32-year-old team leader at a tech firm, spilled his coffee, got stuck in traffic, and arrived at work 5 minutes late. But what made this day different wasn't the chaos. It was how he chose to handle it. Instead of snapping at his assistant or slamming his laptop shut in frustration, Jason paused. He closed his eyes for 10 seconds, took a deep breath, and smiled to himself. "It's just a rough morning," he whispered. "It doesn't have to ruin my day." This small act was Jason's superpower, emotional intelligence, and he didn't even know he had it. Most people think emotional intelligence is something reserved for therapists or meditation coaches. But in reality, it's something that shapes our daily lives more than we realize. Jason's colleague, Amy, noticed his calm demeanor and asked, "How are you always so composed? Don't you ever just want to scream?" Jason chuckled. "Oh, I do," he said. "But I try to separate what I feel from how I react. Otherwise, I'd be yelling every day." This is emotional intelligence at work, the ability to recognize your emotions, label them, and still choose a measured response. Jason had learned, over time, to sit with discomfort rather than explode because of it. He had learned to reflect before reacting. Later that afternoon, Jason was pulled into a meeting to resolve a brewing conflict between two team members, Sarah and Tom. The tension was thick, and voices were getting louder. But instead of choosing sides or acting superior, Jason calmly acknowledged both their emotions. "I can see this project means a lot to both of you," he said. "Let's figure out what's really bothering us here." That moment of empathy defused the situation. Jason didn't just solve a conflict. He prevented a deeper one by addressing emotional needs early. He listened actively, noticing not just what was said, but how it was said. His tone was calm, his body language open. That's the subtle magic of emotional intelligence. Listening with your eyes and heart, not just your ears. Later that week, during a performance review, Jason had to give tough feedback to a junior developer, Alan. Instead of saying, "You're underperforming," he said, "I've noticed you've been struggling with deadlines lately. Is something going on that I can help with?" Alan looked, surprised, not because of the feedback, but because of how respectfully it was delivered. "Actually," he said, "my father's been sick. I've been a bit distracted." Jason offered support, gave him space, and helped him restructure his workload. Emotional intelligence allowed Jason to lead with kindness without lowering standards. People often think intelligence is about IQ, but leadership is about EQ, emotional intelligence. Jason had never been to leadership school, but his team trusted him because he was consistent, self-aware, and genuinely cared. One Friday, after a long week, the team decided to go out for dinner. Jason wasn't in the mood. He was emotionally drained. Instead of forcing himself to go, he politely declined. "I've had a long week and need some quiet time to recharge," he said. Recognizing your limits, setting boundaries, and practicing self-care. These are all signs of emotional intelligence too. Jason wasn't avoiding people. He was honoring his need for rest. Later that evening, Jason sat on his couch, reflecting on the week. He realized that his ability to name his feelings, stress, anxiety, even joy, helped him deal with them better. He didn't just say, "I'm fine," when he wasn't. He had developed a richer emotional vocabulary. Overwhelmed, frustrated, content, energized. Being specific made his internal world clearer and easier to manage. Then came a message from his friend Maria, a high school teacher who often called him when she needed advice. This time, she was upset about a harsh comment from a parent. Jason didn't interrupt, didn't offer immediate solutions. He just listened. When she was done venting, he said, "That sounds really hurtful. You care so much about your students. It must be hard to feel misunderstood." Maria sighed with relief. "Thank you," she said. "You always understand." That's the thing about emotionally intelligent people. They don't jump in to fix things immediately. They validate, support, and help others feel seen. They're not just good listeners. They're emotionally safe people. But emotional intelligence isn't always easy. A few days later, Jason received unexpected criticism from his manager during a meeting. It wasn't presented nicely. In fact, it was a bit harsh. The old Jason might have taken it personally or shut down, but now he took a different approach. He took a breath and said, "Thank you for the feedback. Can I clarify a few points so I can improve?" That's another hallmark of emotional intelligence, receiving criticism without letting it define your worth. Jason didn't see it as an attack, but as a learning opportunity. And perhaps the most impressive example came during a company-wide cultural awareness workshop. Jason, instead of leading the discussion, asked thoughtful questions and listened to others from different cultural backgrounds. He didn't assume everyone expressed emotions the same way. He made space for different perspectives, because emotional intelligence also means cultural sensitivity. By the end of the month, Jason had become the invisible force that kept his team grounded. He wasn't the loudest, the smartest, or the most charismatic, but he was the most emotionally intelligent. And that made all the difference. He wasn't perfect, far from it, but he was growing, aware of his emotions, curious about others, calm in storms, honest with himself, respectful of differences, and above all, a builder of trust. Because emotional intelligence isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself, so you can connect more deeply with the world around you. And on that rainy Monday morning, Jason had no idea how much of an impact he'd have, simply by choosing to stay calm, listen better, and lead with empathy.
Thank you for watching. Your journey to better English and unstoppable confidence starts here. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep growing together. See you in the next video, champion.